All right, well, good morning, everybody. For those of you that I didn't meet yesterday, my name is Julie McIntosh, and I'm the community educator with CompassionCare Hospice. I know a few of you, we kind of chuckled at the table. I always like to say, we hope you don't need our services for a long time to come. Some of you yesterday made comments like, oh, I hope I never need you. I'm going to challenge that today, hopefully, by the time you leave here as a nurse with over 20 years experience and working with people at end of life. My belief is that everybody who's facing an end of life illness should have hospice support, and I hope you'll feel that way too after hearing this. Now, you may not need us for a long time, but you may know somebody who does. We talked with people yesterday who have parents that are ailing, siblings, spouses, a neighbor that they're concerned about. So we hope you'll get some information from this. We know that hospice can be kind of a scary word. People sometimes when we go to health fairs, they'll walk by the booth and they go, don't even look at me, like I might catch something. Hopefully you'll find out that it's really nothing to be scared of. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions, and that's our goal today, to wipe those out so you really know what is hospice. This is a wonderful benefit that you guys have all earned. How does it help? How does it bring support? I have probably worked with personally over 200 families going through this process, and I've never had a family say to me after their loved one passed, I wish I wouldn't have done this. What we hear all the time instead is, I wish I would have known sooner. Mom only was able to get hospice support the last month of her life. Had I known that she could have had this support for 6 months or a year or longer, oh my goodness, what a difference it would have made. So we hope you'll walk away today with a totally different understanding and appreciation for what hospice is. So we're gonna start with kind of a funny question. How many of you here believe that you are going to die? Right? Not today, hopefully not any time in the near future, but can we all agree that 100% of us in this room, we're going to pass away at some point. It is part of living. It's part of the life cycle. In our culture, especially in the United States, we don't like to talk about death. We don't want to talk about our own mortality. And we've made great advances in medical science, right? We can cure people of a lot of things, and we can keep people alive much longer than we used to. However, at some point, all of us are going to come to the end of life journey. And so it's important to know, what are your options? It's important to have those tough discussions with people in your life. What are your wishes? There are huge research studies that have been done. 90% of people, if they're asked, we don't want to pass away and spend the last days of our life in a hospital, in an ICU bed, hooked up to machines. Most people, if you ask them, they say, well, when I get to that point, I want to be at home. I want to be surrounded by people that love me. I want to be comfortable. I want to have a support system. That's what hospice is. Okay, so you guys have these handouts here. We're going to go through these handouts, so feel free to follow along. If you can't tell already, I'm very informal. I'm not your standard lecturer or instructor, so please feel free as we're going. If you have questions, put your hand up, stop me, shout out, dance on the table. Well, don't dance on the table. If anybody fell and broke a hip, I would never forgive myself. So no dancing on the tables allowed. On your first slide, we've kind of, again, tried to make this a little bit funny. This is really a visualization. When most people think of hospice, what do they think of? They think of kind of the grim reaper. They think of death. They think of somebody who's lying in a bed, barely conscious, they're not able to eat, they can't swallow, they can't take medications anymore. They're in those last hours of life. And we're going to challenge that today. You'll notice when you see our brochure, we say, let's talk about hospice, let's talk about living, because it really is about living with a life-limiting illness, okay? So on the bottom slide, it shows what actual hospice patients look like. We have patients on hospice, especially here in Las Vegas, that go to the casino multiple times per week. They go on outings. They go to dances. They're out shopping. Just because somebody's receiving hospice support does not mean that they're bedbound and they're to the point where they're in the final days of life. I always laugh. I'm not sure Nicole put this presentation together. I'm not sure why there's the cute doctor and nurse. I think all of our nurses and doctors are pretty cute, but